Well, it is really important if we consider, for example, the relationship between Thomas More or also Sir Francis Bacon in relation with the idea of Plato and Aristotle in the ideas of the ideal city-state. We have to consider that there is a really important connection that, for example, these authors of the early modern age developed in relation with the ancient Greek city-state and the ancient Greek philosophy. This is really interesting because, for example, the utopian system, considered a specific type of independence of their politics. This is really interesting because during the early Middle Ages, during the early modern age, we have the discovery of America. Therefore, for example, we have the discovery of a new world that, on the one hand, the Spaniards, on the other hand, the English people colonized. But at the same time, in this period, was born also a new type of idea, a sort of idea that was coined also during the ancient Greek society, that it was the idea of utopia. In the ancient Greek society, this type of idea, utopia, it was derived by two Greek words, eutopia and outopia, where now eutopia, it means a good place, the best place that we can consider, or the best place that we can see. At the same time, the word instead, utopia, it is the place that it doesn't exist. Plato considered this type of connections between utopia and utopia. In any case, the ancient Greek society, in relation with this philosophy, in particular, philosophers of the ancient Greek society, really probably considered really much this type of argument. The difference between utopia and utopia. In fact, Plato, it's not a case, theorized an ideal community in the Republic, but also in the laws, two important dialogues of Plato. But at the same time, also Aristophanes theorized a sort of utopia when he considered that the power of the Athenian people arrived to fail, and at the same time the idea that women had now important power during the Peloponnesian War. Yeah, this utopian system are in relation with the idea that could be another type of place that we don't understand, or that we don't know that it exists. At the same time, this type of ideal society considered that there is an independent society in relation with the Greek city-state. The idea of empire in the Greek city-state didn't exist in relation with the idea that, the ancient Greek city-state didn't consider the idea of empire. Only with Alexander the Great arrived the idea of empire in the Western world, and tried to do this type of idea of Alexander the Great connecting the idea of this city-state with the idea of empire of the Persian Empire. Therefore, Alexander the Great tried to assimilate the Greek city-state with the Persian Empire to create another type of empire. And this is really interesting because the idea of Greek city-state, this ideal society, arrived, for example, in the Hellenistic world and in the Roman Empire. The idea of the urbe, the dream of Rome, that, in this sense, arrived to be a new type of dream of the urbe romana, the citizens of Rome, the slaves that could become liberty, freedom, a free man. At the same time, in any case, we have two different type of opposition, a specific type of opposition, the idea of city-state, the idea of independence, an ancient Greek city-state that it considered the others as a sort of enemies of a city-state, and the idea of empire that the Romans, considering by Alexander the Great, tried to develop in the idea of inclusive system, where, for example, the barbarians one day could become Romans, could become citizens of Rome. In ancient Greek society, didn't exist this idea. But in any case, in the early modern age, with the imperialism, arrived a new type of idea, or better, an original type of idea for that time that tried to reinterpret the idea of ancient Greek society in relation with the idea of independence. The opposition of empire, according to some Greeks, tried to explain specifically a sort of bad thing for the city-state, because Greeks were in relation with their independence. But the inclusion try to explain that could be an empire that supported all citizens in relation with their possibility to be citizen. Therefore, also, for example, a slave could become a citizen. At the same time, during the early modern age, if there was the idea of empire that it was for the case in the case of the Spaniard Empire, is really inclusive in relation with the idea, or better, some inclusive, yeah. For example, the idea of Spaniards that in a moment comprehended the Indios, yeah, in general, because in the first time the Spaniards try to do a lot of violence against Indios, but at the same time, um, we understand that the culture of the Spaniards arrived to created some families between Indios. This is really interesting topic because, for example, the English system didn't develop this idea in front of the Indios. According to the English system, the natives in the New World couldn't be connected with the idea of society. In this sense, Spaniards, the Spanish idea in relation with the idea of natural law, the idea that there is a dignity between humans, it was in a second moment connected with this idea of potential type of population, new type of population. The idea of utopia, in this sense, arrived in relation with the idea of what we have to do with these populations, with this new population that we have to discover, but in particular, is it really true that the empire could assimilate this population? Because, on the other hand, there is the idea in this sense that what is the main question? The main question is what is the ethic society or the ethic community? Therefore, an empire that expounded, that developed itself really much wouldn't be considered now the ethic life. Therefore, could be really better developed as Plato explained or as Aristotle explained in relation with new type of world that we have discovered, an independent society. This type of critique were developed, for example, by Domingo de Soto, a Spanish philosopher, but also, on the other hand, by, for example, Thomas More in England, a new type of, or Sir Francis Bacon, a new type of theorization that consider that we have to re-understand the idea of independent society. In this sense, the theorists of the Utopia system developed their theories as in considering an island with some cities, with its autonomy, independence, with specific type of costume. This is really interesting because the idea of utopia in the early modern age, it is opposite to that idea of imperialism that want to conquer or to colonize everything or to create a unique type of state. In particular, it is true that Spaniards in a second time became much more inclusive than England, that English, the English people, but at the same time, this type of power it was much more centralized than the English people. In fact, in the case of the imperialism of England, the colonized were much more autumn than and independent than the Spanish colonizers. In fact, the Spanish colonizers were in relation to the central power in Spain. For example, in the case of Charles V and Philip II, his son. This is really interesting because in any case, the idea of utopia was reinterpreted in the modern age, early modern age. Bye.